All right.
Hey, we're here.
Third time's a charm. We're here.
Third time's a charm.
Episode 26, 27.
Episode 27.
27, fellas. How we feeling?
If y'all watching this who aren't good at math, 27 is half of 54, which is how many weeks are in a year. And technically, if you break it down, we've been filming this for 6 months consistently. So
that's on gang.
That's pretty cool.
That's on
bro,
gang, dude.
Call me Chat GPT the way I just spit that stuff.
Did that come to the dome? Because if so, that was pretty impressive.
That was pretty good.
Did that come to the dome? Or did you think about that before the podcast?
I did not.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Everything I do comes to the dome.
A little see me in action. Okay.
Most impulsive person you guys know. Right. So
that's not a lie.
Well, we're here. Obviously, you got a crazy week going on. Before we jump into anything, Zach, how was your week?
Dude, it's been really good, honestly. Can't lie. Man. It's been one of them weeks, man. It's been a solid one. I can't complain. Had a good workout today. Edited some clips. Now we're here.
Nice. Ant?
It's been busy with work. Just been doing classes for my fire investigation stuff, and that's about it, really. Just been staying busy. What about you, Keaton?
Staying busy, gunning for this promotion.
Oh yeah,
right on the heels of it. So
nice.
Hopefully, good for you.
Hopefully, your boys promoted in end of April. That's the goal. So,
what are you trying to get promoted into?
Financial service officer, which is basically like the person that opens up memberships, sets up business accounts, does mortgages, auto loans, anything like that. That would be my position. So I would be in charge of like doing that stuff.
Nice. Oh yeah, that would be epic. Yeah. Why end of April?
Well, if everything stays on course, I get my letter of recommendation from management at the start of April, and then I apply for whatever financial positions are available, but it's kind of a cutthroat position. So my goal is to be hired by end of April, but until I get that letter of recommendation, there's really nothing I can do. So just got to wait.
Oh yeah.
Is this promotion, is this like a huge like jump from where you're at right now?
I mean, it's not huge, but it is a big step in terms of like getting to management, which is the end goal for me. So most people who go to like branch manager will start with teller, then they'll go financial service officer, and then they'll do like supervisor positions. So this is kind of the next step to it.
Well, man. Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks, Bane. Thanks.
Yep.
Anyway, fuck all that shit.
Fuck all that. I said it all. What's the lyrics for that?
Hey, I don't know. You're talking about here.
Sorry.
This song? Hold on. This song?
No. I didn't even notice that. That shit's clean.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Looks nasty, but
Keen's up right now.
I'm
up right now.
I'm up and it's stuck. Shout out my girlfriend.
I mean, we have a lot to talk about, but
we do. We're burning daylight here, for lack of a better word. So
I think this one's specifically something that we should talk about. And you can read my banner. It says National Flag Football League.
And before we preface, I just want to kind of explain what happened for even the casual football fan. So every year the NFL gets together to do a league meeting. It consists of officials, coaches, staff, not players. Players are usually left out of this one, but basically everything, committees, all that stuff. And they do it once a year. And this year was it in Florida. And one of the big things was that they voted to, there was a lot of rule changes that were presented by the NFL Competition Committee and other teams like the Lions that owners and organizations voted on or against. And so we're going to jump into that. Zach's got a big one. Obviously, the headliner news.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, man. The NFL might have just ruined football for good with this one. And I'm serious when I say that. Like, a lot of these things, you know, they don't bother me a lot, but some of these new rules are starting to get ridiculous. And this first one, like I said, the NFL is turning into flag football. This one's ridiculous, honestly. And it's the no more hip drop tackle rule, which basically means that If you grab a guy by the hips like this, you can't drag him down. There's no more of that. So if you do, you get a flag, which is ridiculous because you already get flagged for hitting someone at the top. So if you hit someone at the head, you get a flag. If you hit someone at the knee, you get a flag. And now you can't tackle them with dropping your hips and forcing them down. How do you coach? How do you coach to tackle now?
Let me add on to that too. The flag penalty for it, it's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Roughness. Yep, unnecessary roughness, which is ridiculous, dude. I honestly could not believe that when I saw it. That one blew my mind. That one was crazy. But seriously, how do you coach tackling? Like, genuinely, I'm asking you guys, like, how would you guys coach tackling? Like, you basically have a window of a form tackle between the chest and the belly button, and that's all you can hit somewhere at.
Typically, if I were coach tackling, I would go get down low and get them down there. I mean, but
well, you can't now.
I know. I don't know how you do it. Defense can't play their positions anymore. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. All of these either old NFL players that have already retired or even current ones, they're all coming out saying like, this is flag football now. Might as well throw some flags on them, on their waist. How are we supposed to, how are we supposed to tackle people now? It's ridiculous. And it's crazy that multiple NFL players are actually like upset about this, and they're actually coming out with that too, which, I mean, yeah, I'm all for it though.
Yeah, I mean, Javon Holland just tweeted on March 25th, which is a couple of days ago, breaking news, tackling banned. I know J.J. Watt tweeted something too. What did he say?
He mentioned, I think he was the one that said, you might as well just start putting flags on guys now. Something like that.
Yeah, it was something. Hold on. Just fast forward to the belts with flags on them. I mean, dude, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, how are you supposed to tackle now? You can't hip drop tackle anyone. You can't hit someone in the knees. You can't hit them at top. You can't land on a quarterback with your weight. Like, dude, now, like, I've been saying this, and it's been a while since I've said this because, a lot of these rules you get acclimated to pretty quickly. But this one, to me, is very important, The hip drop tackle, specifically for cornerbacks and safeties, is like the number one tackle they do. Like, that's not a joke. They typically do that for most of their tackles against bigger wide receivers and tight ends. Go to the hip drop tackle all the way down, and they typically can injure someone, but that's a part of the game. The game is violent.
Yeah.
The game is violent. So, I don't know. That was the one thing where I'm like, dude, like, if we're going to continue to do this, like, you might as well change it to flag football. The Pro Bowl already is. I mean, that's what it's going down to. You can't even hip drop tackle anyone. What are we doing?
That's fair.
Like, to me, it's like, dude, that's how I learned to tackle. Like, you hit someone, you tackle them regardless, especially if they're bigger than you. Like, the hip drop tackle is something you're taught in, like, Bantam League. Like, when you're a kid, bro. So, I don't know. That one pisses me off, but Keaton, I think you have something to show, huh?
I saw a funny video, and it said Cooper DeJean to DK Metcalf in this upcoming season with the hip drop rule changes.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, douses them with the chloroform.
That's hella funny. But yeah, I mean, there's another one too that I was kind of shocked about. I don't really know how I feel about this one. I'm kind of a 50-50 with it, but it's the kickoff rule. Keaton, you know about this one more than I do. But this one's crazy.
Well, I'm gonna just share my screen once more. Yep. This is kind of an explanation for those looking at home. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the NFL launched a new kickoff rule. Kickoffs have become, honestly, kind of a very boring thing. We've seen that almost 70 to 80%, which is about, I almost want to say like 72% is league average for how frequent there is a touchback, whether the ball's kicked back into the end zone or whether a player's kneeling it, right? So for those who don't know, the old kickoff style was that the kicker stood at the 40-yard line or 40, I think it was 35 or 40. But his whole kickoff team stood with him, and they would start moving when he would kick the ball so they could get a head start to try and rush down to get the returner. The return team could also move and try and block at the same time that was happening. But the NFL over concerns of concussion issues, injury issues, and also just overall lack of return yards, decided it was time for a change. The XFL, which is kind of a spring league of football where minor leaguers basically go and play football, they've been doing this for about 2 years, and the NFL decided they wanted to adopt it. So here are the rule changes. Basically, if a kick doesn't reach the landing zone, which is this green, the ball is automatically placed at the 40-yard line right here. If a ball goes out of the end zone at the 35, or if the ball goes out of the end zone, so back through here, the ball is at the 35-yard line. So it gets moved up all the way here. If it hits in the landing, if it hits in the landing zone and rolls into the easy zone, which is sorry, Jesus, that was bad. Can we clip that? Can we actually clip that? That was bad. That was really bad. The easy zone.
Fucking cheese.
We might as well call our podcast In the Easy. That's crazy. That's so crazy how I fumbled that hard. I was on a roll. That's crazy. Whatever. We're keeping that in.
In the easy.
In the easy zone. So if the let's see. If I believe it's the ball in landing. Wait, hold on. If hits in landing zone and rolls into end zone, it is downed. Ball is placed at the 20. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Hold on.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's really bad. That just threw me off my whole rhythm. This has gone to shit. Okay, so basically, if the kicker kicks the ball, it hits somewhere in this landing zone and rolls into the end zone or easy zone for my Idaho folk. The ball is downed at the 20-yard line. So somewhere within this little green area. Now, that being said, if it's caught in the landing zone, it has to be returned. So there's no more kneeling within the 20-yard line to move the ball up to the 25. There's no touchbacks outside of the end zone. Now there has to be a return, which was something that was kind of boring last year that they got rid of was the returns. So this is a lot of changes. Touchbacks always were put at the 25-yard line. Obviously, they moved the kicker back a little bit to eliminate balls going towards the back of the end zone.
Wait, I have a question.
But go ahead.
Can the return specialist return it from the end zone?
Yeah. So kneeling in the end zone does exist. I believe the ball still maintains that 20-yard marker.
Makes sense.
They can still return it out of the end zone. Don't know why you would, but you can.
Dude.
And then here's a big one. And I also have a video just to help people visualize what it's going to say. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Sorry. So the rest of the special teams players while they're on the kickoff, right? On the kickoff team. Okay.
Yeah. I was just about to get into this.
You're about to get into that? Okay, cool. I was going to say.
No, go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
So then my question would be, so if the entire kickoff team is moved back a little bit more, so to prevent the ball from going into or past the end zone, right? To prevent a touchback, where are those other players lined up besides the kicker, and when can they move then?
Yeah. So in past, we had it that you had your entire kicking team right there. Here's the kicker right in the middle, and then you had everyone lined up, right? With the return team, everyone was lined up kind of sparingly throughout, right? What they've changed to now is that on the 40-yard line, the kickoff team, so the kicker's back here. That stays the same. I believe they moved it back. I do, but I will explain
it right now.
Yeah.
I think it'll be easier for you to explain it. Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. Let me stop sharing my screen because I do have a video.
Good question, Adam.
Because, like I said, the XFL has been doing this for about 2 years now, and it has been really successful. We've seen like a high amount of kick returns for touchdowns and gained yardage, and so this is essentially what this will look like this season. So if you see, the kicker is all the way back here, and before
crazy,
before the kicker was up here with the whole kickoff team. Now there's like a 35-yard difference where this is now the kick team.
How do they know when to go?
Return team. So basically, both of these sides are not allowed to move. They have 5 yards of gap space. They are not allowed to move until the return man catches the ball. Now, for these players, their visualization is usually on the big board that they can see that the players caught the ball. It also is triggered by these kickoff team, or like the kickoff return team, the kickoff team being able to move at the same time. Neither of these sides can move until the returner has caught the ball or it has hit one of these players.
Dude,
only
this is
teams
crazy.
only players that can move are the kicker and the returner. And so this is a video of kind of how it will look, minus the quality. So he kicks it off. Both of these, look, everyone's standing still. This is the only guy that's moved.
So he has to return it.
Yep. He catches the ball. Immediately, these players take off. And look, some of them go backwards. Some of them go to block.
What the fuck, dude? This is crazy.
And look, he's already at the 25. And
is there an offsides for kickoff now?
No, but there could be false starts. Like there could be movement penalties. So that's a
so if they move before he catches the ball, they're still flags.
Almost like jumping the gun. There's still going to be flags. Like there's still going to be those same rules. But look, if you notice, he just got the ball and he's already at the 25-yard line.
Or he's got to be at the 25. Yeah.
Yeah, and really, if he can make a cut here, obviously it's the XFL, so they're not as athletic. But if he can make a cut here, there's a possibility that he goes and rushes for a touchdown because these players don't have enough momentum to start running backwards.
And just like that, he's on the 31.
That's crazy, dude.
And just like that, he's on the 30. Crazy. And so what we're going to see, what the NFL's introducing is that the kick return specialist is going to be its own separate. It's just going to be its own separate thing. I highly doubt that we're going to see players doing both because when they were doing it, a lot of times there was like Tyler Lockett was a return specialist, but he was also a wide receiver. Because you're looking for guys that are super elusive, I think the NFL, not maybe this year, but the year after, is going to start finding Devin Hester-like players who are only good at kickoff returns.
Right.
Safer for the league because it creates less momentum for defensive players to get injured when they're running down the field at full speed and opposing players are trying to block them. So it prevents that injury. But it also increases the likelihood that there's going to be a return to kickoff. So good for the NFL. A lot of people are scrutinizing it. I actually think it's a great rule change. It will look a little weird, but in 6 months, we won't know what it, like 6 months after the season, we won't know what the difference is,
Right.
Right. So only time will tell.
I don't know how I feel about it.
My theory is the Devin Hester
50-50.
record will fall within the next 5 years.
That's a good theory. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it also prioritizes
within the next 5 years
in your special teams too. Yeah.
Within the next 5 years is crazy.
Hmm.
His record is a span of his whole career.
No, I'm saying.
Are you talking about in his single year?
Season.
Okay.
Single season. But the NFL, like I said, I think he starts to invest in kickoff specialists only, like a Devin Hester. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I
kind of like it.
I do too.
The more I think about it, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be entertaining.
Those were the two headliners. There was quite a few rules that got changed. Actually, a lot. Realistically, there was not a lot of talk about the other rules because everyone's all up in arms about the hip drop, which I don't have too much to say about. It's just I don't pay attention to that stuff, so I'll just wait till I see it. But here's some big ones. I wrote these down earlier just to keep track of them. During a Lions game against the Cowboys, Dan Campbell was frustrated after a loss because he felt the Lions were cheated out of a win because they were unable to use a challenge close to the end of the game that would have clearly affected a play that was definitely a touchdown and was called back. So they were one of the few teams that actually presented their own rule, and the NFL Competition Committee didn't really want to deal with it because they didn't think it would pass. But it passed in almost a unanimous vote. And so now one of the rule changes is that NFL coaches get a third challenge if they were successful on either the first or the second of the two challenges.
I like that.
So that's a really big thing.
I like that.
Obviously, if that rule existed last year, the Lions could have possibly been the 1 seed out of that division or out of that conference. So that's a huge.
Not like the Niners are going to use that one. Kyle Shanahan never throws his challenge flag.
Yeah, neither does Seattle. So
Just puckering right up his asshole. Here's the challenge flag. Just waiting to be thrown, but he's just like, oh
Diego
no.
called it. He's got a tight butthole. So
Yep. He does.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a confusing one. Basically, this is a rule change that's kind of been talked about for some time within NFL and officiating. But I'll just kind of explain what I have written here. So the offense can be given a flag for things like unnecessary roughness or late hits on change of possession plays like fumbles or interceptions in which both teams committed a penalty. Things of that nature were previously ignored as it was called for offsetting penalties. So that might sound like a mumbo jumbo of stuff. What I think frequently is DK Metcalf style plays where Geno would throw an interception or there might be a fumble and DK Metcalf explodes on Fred Warner. Even though there is penalties on both the players, they offset it. And essentially there was a lot of issues where defense was getting called for penalties during a change of possession play, and offense could commit similar penalties, but because they were the ones trying to now tackle, those were often ignored. And so we're going to see a lot more of unnecessary roughness due to offensive like interceptions, like during that play. Late hits are going to be a huge one. So it does change how teams are supposed to deal with turnovers and that play ensuing on a turnover. I don't think that's going to be a huge like rule. I don't. I think we'll see more penalties on offense, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Kind of a confusing one. So a few more, just two more. So we have a big one, but this one is actually pretty huge. It's replay can now be used to determine whether the game clock expired before the ball was snapped. That's huge. So in during week 4 of the 2023 season, there was a game against the Lions. It was a game between the Lions and the Packers, in which the Packers during a play gained 44 yards. But the Lions stated that the play clock expired, and actually, when going back to the replay, it showed that the play clock did expire. But there was no safeguard to prevent that, and so the ruling, even though it was, oh yeah, we screwed up, officials were like, yeah, it did expire. They couldn't actually overturn that play, and so the Packers were able to actually gain the yards right before the quarter ended. That has now since changed. So the NFL, the replay review booth in New York can live react to those, say, hey, you need to review this, and they can go back and say, well, the play clock expired, and completely basically negate that play and that yardage.
I love it.
Game. So
I love it.
Going to be huge.
This is probably my favorite rule change.
Yeah. When especially when you break down like how like key big games are and like how much momentum is made in those last few seconds of a game.
Oh, for
sure. We see a lot like when teams are rushing to get to the ball, on like a 4th and 9, and they're trying to call a play and they get it right as it hits 0. The NFL can now use that and say, oh, he did get it off, or nah, he didn't, game over.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Seriously. I think that's the best rule change that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to change how a lot of teams manage clock, though, because
it is.
If you're up big, or not even big, honestly, if you're just up in general, like you typically take the clock to 0, and there's a lot of times where big plays happen with 0 seconds on the clock.
You can clearly say. So yeah, it's going to change.
Right. So
we'll definitely change.
Interesting. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
though.
This is the last one I have. Again, there was like 5 or 6. This is pretty much all of them. Okay, so it's another replay review. Replay can also be used to overturn a ruling that the quarterback was down or out of bounds before throwing a pass. So this has existed for quite some time. I guess the thing is that even though you could review it, you couldn't effectively change the outcome of that play. And so let's just say, for example, Patrick Mahomes threw a play or threw a pass, and he was playing the Packers, right? And the Packers have already used their challenges, so they don't have access to say, well, we're challenging that he was down.
Oh, I didn't know this.
The NFL basically couldn't really go back and say, oh, he was down. Like they could go back and say he was down, but they couldn't actually change the outcome if they didn't call it when they saw it. And so
I did not know this.
Yes. And so the key word here is overturn. There was already review processes to see if a quarterback was down, but officials couldn't change the outcome, right? So furthermore, if a pass is completed, it will stand if the officials are if the officials are wrong, right? But let's say Patrick Mahomes does throw that and they call him down, but he clearly wasn't. Essentially, like let's say he threw it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Marquez ran down the field and scored a touchdown. That is negated. Those
That's
yards,
crazy.
So those yards are actually wiped off the board, but the catch is still complete because it's
really
kind of like So they'll still call the catch like a completed catch because yes,
I don't like that.
it was a catch and he wasn't down, but it's like a dead ball penalty. Like when they blow the flag and it was clearly a fumble, they can't continue that play, right? On the opposite side, though, if the pass is incomplete, the down will still count, but the offense doesn't lose yardage. So it's like if this one I was a little confused about reading. My understanding from trying to gather some info. Yeah, so my understanding from this is
I misunderstood you. I understand now. I think I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then I think my understanding for the if the pass is incomplete is just if if they basically let's say for example like Patrick Mahomes again is a great example. If he throws that ball and they say, hey, it's a completed catch, and replay review goes to say, oh, he was down, his knee touched. They're basically just going to call that. They're going to just call that a down penalty, and I believe that's just a loss of down, and there's no yardage lost. I could be wrong. What I just put in my notes is if the pass is incomplete, the down will still count, but the offense doesn't lose yardage. So a little weird. We'll see that probably a little bit this year. It's not
I have a question.
Penalty. Go ahead.
What happens if, again, let's just use Patrick Mahomes for an easy example. He's rolling out right? He gets chased out of bounds, and it's 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, right? However, the ref doesn't see that. He steps out of bounds. He throws it to Travis Kelce. It's for a 10-yard gain, right? Okay. The official does not call it, but they go to replay, and they see that he stepped out of bounds. Is that a 2-yard loss, or is it just loss of
see? And
downs?
This is the thing. I think it's a 2-yard loss from that because he did step out of bounds, and I think if his knee and this is where I was kind of confused because I'm almost wanting to say that if his knee is down, he's also going to lose the yardage. I don't understand how the pass is complete. And honestly, while you guys are talking, I might actually just try and get a little bit more clarification on this rule. Hold on, let me mute my mic because I'm going to come back.
My other question is this. So let's say I get.
Oh.
Okay, so my question to you, Keaton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you just look like you got head.
I feel
you were Alvin right there. Do you have an answer to my first question? Actually, it seems like you have an answer, so go for it.
No. What was your first question?
It was the one about him stepping out of bounds. But my next question is this.
Yeah.
If he throws the ball to Travis Kelce and he steps out of bounds, the ref does not call it, but he throws his hat down to basically say, let's review this. Travis Kelce catches the ball at the 20, runs all the way into the end zone for a touchdown, right? They review it. He doesn't step out of bounds. However, do they have to stop the play? How is that going to work?
Well, I mean, if they're saying that he was down, if they think he stepped out of bounds when he threw it and Travis Kelce catches that ball and runs down for a touchdown, the yards that Travis Kelce gained after that catch are negated because the NFL has to go back and review, okay, well, he wasn't out of bounds. That catch does exist, but we can't continue the yards because technically we still called it a dead ball stoppage.
But they're not stopping the game.
No, but if they whistle saying he was out of bounds and Travis Kelce caught the ball, they can go back and review whether he was or wasn't out of bounds.
Yeah, but if they whistle saying that he's out of bounds, all the players are going to stop, right?
That's the point. And so if Travis
then
Kelce,
he won't run. He won't run.
Yeah, but there's just a possibility that he could.
Oh,
and so
I
they're
see.
Just saying
if it was a Hail Mary.
Yeah, basically.
And he caught at the 5. He'd be down to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, that's kind of crazy. That's fucked.
Yeah. So
that's
also
gonna cause some problems, I feel like.
I
could see it.
Okay, this is huge. while I was trying to review, this is huge. Okay. Wow. I was just trying to I was trying to answer Zach's question by looking it up, and I actually found out another huge rule change that we didn't even cover. And shout out
This is a
NBC
very
for
obvious
not even
one.
explaining this. No. So Tom, I think it's Pelissero. He's a NFL analyst for NFL Network.
Mhm.
He said
Mhm.
NFL Competition Committee. This was 2 days ago. NFL Competition Committee Chairman Rich McKay told me that replay assistant will now be permitted to correct certain types of incorrect calls for roughing the passer and intentionally grounding. Must be purely objective. QB wasn't hit out of the head, wasn't hit in the head, was out of pocket, etc. The competition committee has long opposed challenges to penalty calls because it essentially substitutes one person's judgments for another. This is much more narrow, but another step towards empowering the replay assistant to fix clear and obvious mistakes.
So it's an
Whoa.
AI.
Well, I don't know if it's AI. I don't know what the assistant means in
It
the
has to be.
context of this word. Oh
It
yeah,
has
no,
to
it
be.
is basically someone said this takes the
They said
guesswork out of
subjective.
something. Yeah, they said taking the this is the best news I've seen today. Taking the guesswork out of something that technology can accurately gauge and provide real-time information on is something that 100% should be implemented. About damn time.
Dude, that's crazy.
Anthony.
And Zach.
Dude, hold on, Phyllis. We need to talk about this.
Yeah, we
need
do.
to talk about this. This is crazy.
So
AI is taking over the NFL.
It was bound to happen. AI taking over everything.
This is crazy.
Well,
it's
dude,
going to
start
happen.
using this for
but
all
this
of
is
it.
but this is great for the defense. This is fantastic news.
Okay,
obviously, you know, there's complaints that hey, this was not roughing the passer. I barely touched him. And
Right.
now you can
Dude,
code AI to determine
it's
whether
crazy though.
Yeah, that was objectively a hit in the head or something like that. Yeah.
We're using AI now
I
in
also
professional
saw another
sports.
thing. So a British guy watched a football game in like week 16 of last year for the first time ever. And he basically gave his insight. He gave 5 things that he would change, right? And I think it was the 4th thing that he said. He said, why doesn't the NFL put a chip in the football to track where the ball goes so that there isn't a bunch of controversy for first downs and not first downs? And I was like, dude, that's fucking genius. Like imagine doing like the push tush and you can't see anything. You can't see anything because there's 10 guys on top of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they had a tracker or a chip in the ball, they'd be able to track where it would land. But then you have to know when the knee hits the ground too, or the elbow hits the ground.
But you also have to think about the fact that you do lose a lot of that human error that does make those sports controversial.
Yeah.
And I think
baseball's going to it too.
Baseball wants to, and it just they still won't because there is still.
They've been using it more and more.
They use it in minor leagues, and it's very rarely used in the minor leagues right now. And it's not popular in the minor leagues right now. I think there is. Yeah. You do lose that, like as a fan, dude. If a ref calls a penalty against a team that I'm like that Seattle's playing and I don't like them, and they call it against and it clearly wasn't, I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, it makes me happy.
Right.
The same thing happens the opposite way. I get pissed. And I think if you make it purely like 100% yes or 100% no, you lose a lot of that human error that I think makes the sport so fun
love to watch. Yeah,
exactly. Like people hate to see it, but they love to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So
that's a crazy rule, though. Honestly,
it is. That is crazy.
I think we'll probably find out more about that later. It feels like it's very quiet that was talked about, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So
cool. Well, I'm gonna get into the last thing here, or I guess second to last thing, or the last thing that I really want to talk about, and that is the Brandon Ayuk situation. Not getting better for us. Not getting worse. I don't know. I don't really know how to.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I thought it was fine. I thought Niners were working out his contract.
So here's the thing.
Or is there something new?
Here's the thing. Yeah, I'll show it right here.
Okay.
Here's the thing, bro. And again, this is it's not good. It's not good, but it's not like one of those things where I'm like panicking about yet, because Debo did the same thing. This is what Brandon Ayuk said. He said
Oh,
in all
no.
emojis, money talks, bullshit walks. Right? I'll get out of this. And that was a response to, who was that response to? Let's see.
And how many days ago was that posted?
That was, let's see. I just got rid of it. Dang. Hold on. He posted that on Twitter March 25th, so 2 days ago.
That's not good because over the weekend, that's when it was released that Niners are working on his contract. That's not good.
It's not good at all. But yeah, that was not good. I'm trying to find the actual tweet. I'm not going to be able to find it, but yeah, I mean, that was in response to John Lynch basically saying that they're trying to work out a deal, which is never a good sign from your star athlete tweeting something like money walks, bullshit talks. Not good. But again, I saw another thing today that Kyle Shanahan saw Brandon Ayuk in Cabo, and they had great talks about the contract. So I'm a little worried about it. I don't really know what's happening. This reminds me a lot about Debo last year. It's very similar to Debo last year, but I'm just hoping we can sign him. It's kind of scaring me, but I don't know. That's kind of something I wanted to bring up and put on our podcast. Maybe if you guys have any opinion, go for it, throw it in the comments, but that's something that I'm a little bit worried about. And then the last thing that I wanted to, I guess, hop into, or that we had on our list, if you guys don't want to, open up and show the tweet here, then I can, if you guys aren't tripping about it.
No, go for it.
Cool.
Go ahead.
So the last one was this. And again, we're an NFL podcast, but Caleb Williams is going to be in the NFL next year. A lot of people have been doubting his character and stuff like this. This one was crazy to me. Caleb Williams in the building to watch the Juju Watkins show. Anyways, he starts like waving his hand. He's dancing a little bit. And in this video, he shows like his pink nails and a pink, what's it called, phone case, right? Jack McGuire, who is a guy from Barstool, responded with, pink phone is crazy, not gonna lie. Mind you, Caleb, it is crazy. Caleb does not respond to a lot of these. He rarely does. He had time today. He said, your profile picture is crazy, not gonna lie. Jack, my guy. Jack. I mean, you just got toasted, bud. I like Caleb Williams. I think he might have an attitude problem, but that one was crazy to me. I could not believe he actually responded to Jack with saying that. Jack made a video, but I honestly think Caleb won, and that was something crazy. I don't think, and maybe you guys can answer this, I don't think the pink nails and the pink phone really bother me. Like, do they bother you?
And I'll let you start on this one. Just unless you don't have an opinion, then I'm cool with it. But
I don't really have an opinion about it. Repeat the question, Zach. Repeat the question.
Does like the pink case and the pink nails that he has painted onto his nails bother you? Like his whole theatrical thing that he does it bother you?
No, you do you, I guess. But I mean, it's just a little odd, I guess I would say, right terms of it. But I mean,
Right.
I don't really have an opinion on it. If that's what he wants to do, then go for it. But a little bit odd, I think. I think that's a good word to put it. Just odd, not normal. Not
normal, for sure.
Not normal,
for sure.
But
he's unique.
Very that's probably a better word than odd. Unique. Thank you.
He's unique.
But
Caleb is unique.
Yes, but no strong opinion about it. That's what he likes. That's what Caleb likes. Then, yeah,
that's fair. Keaton, what about you? I know you have a strong opinion about Caleb.
The colored nails doesn't bother me. I'm just being perfectly frank. I think he is just flamboyant, and that's cool for him. I don't think he's not like homosexually flamboyant. He's just, that's kind of how he
just
is.
Him.
We see that he is. Jared McCain from Duke, the basketball player, he's kind of a similar person, just very just very unique and individualistic, right? Like he doesn't conform to a certain set of. He doesn't necessarily conform to a set of understanding that you got to dress a certain way, you got to act a certain way, and that's how you get into the NFL or NBA. I think
Right.
Caleb Williams does his own thing, and because of that, he does get a lot of negative talk because he doesn't conform to the ideal quarterback. But that's how he stays fresh.
Right.
What I will say that pisses me off about Caleb Williams is, to me, he feels too cocky, right? I don't I understand why he doesn't throw at the combine, but then his answer is a little weird. And it's just like, well, you guys have seen me throw and you guys have seen me play. So you just make your judgments off that. And it's like, all right, dude, you're clearly the number one overall. Like, it's gonna happen. Congratulations. But you're not doing yourself any favors with people that have negative doubts about you because you simply refuse to do the things. If you had simply just said, I don't want to tank my draft stock, I think more people would have reacted and been like, all right, that's cool. But the way he formats his certain things is like, damn, dude, you kind of suck. Like, you're kind of a cocky bastard. I'm rooting for your
I
downfall
think it's
now.
the way that he answers things. It's his
Exactly.
attitude to the questions that he's asked. It's almost like he has a chip on his shoulder no matter what he's asked.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude,
And
like they're just asking, why aren't you throwing the football? They asked that.
And I think that's the thing. It was like his answer could have been so much more like humble. And he's just like, you guys have seen me throw, like, you've seen the plays, you make your judgments off that. And it's like, okay, cool, you're right. I have seen the throws, we've seen the plays, and they're damn good plays. But there's just certain things where I'm like, man, you just probably could have answered that a little bit cooler. But you know what? There's a reason he's where he's at and where we're here, right?
Right.
And there's a good quote by Pete Weber about this, like about cockiness. And he said, love me or hate me, you watched me. That's all you could do. And I think that perfectly embodies Caleb Williams. Personally, I hope he's kind of a bust. That being said,
come on.
I do. I think he's
preying on his downfall.
I am. I actually think he actually doesn't pan out well, but I could be wrong. I could be perfectly wrong.
You're gonna be wrong because he's
fair.
gonna be a top 10 quarterback next year. That's my hot take.
I don't see it. But
dude, I'm telling you,
nails.
He's going into he's going into the best situation ever by a number one quarterback drafted in any class ever. The best situation. Okay. The second best defense in the NFC. He has weapons everywhere.
He plays but he's going to be playing for Chicago.
Chicago, horrible franchise that might be turning it around. Honestly, I'm starting to hop on the bandwagon. I don't know. Well, excuse me.
That's fair. That's fair.
However, I think they're going to do well.
Yeah,
I think they are.
I wanted to say this real quick. So we just talked a little bit about the assistants, like the replay assistants. That is not AI. That is a genuine person sitting up in the booth that reviews those things analytically with the help of AI to make those decisions on whether or not that was the correct call. And so,
so it's a person.
Yes. So Rich Eisen had an interview with the Rich McKay, the chairman of the committee, and basically he said when the replay assistant actually does say something or impact the referee is basically going to say on a mic, after consultation with the replay assistant, the flag is picked up. And then he also said, what our goal is to try and make it clear for you at home and you in the stadium what's going on, because to your point, it's one thing for the people at home and begin to think things, but people in the stadium don't know either. So our idea was to be very clear and very transparent on what is impacting call and why. So I think it's just going to clear up a lot of those like confusing things, why they called it. Right. So,
that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, so it also takes pressure off them to have to watch the quarterback so heavily. So they can focus on making other calls. Good rule change. Don't know why it wasn't talked about more, but
yeah.
So
cool. Well, I think that kind of wraps up everything.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well,
hey, you got anything?
Nada. We kind of just established everything.
For the listeners who just listen.
You got to repeat that.
I'll just pause that. For the listeners that just let me yap or just heard me yap for 45 minutes straight about football, I appreciate you guys for tuning in this long.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
And let's keep in mind, fellas, it's no longer the National Football League. This is the National Flag Football League.
The Marshmallow
League.
League.
Can't turn into that, man. It can't turn into that. Well, I think that ends our podcast for this week. Thank you guys for watching, listening. Please like and subscribe, comment. Come for next week.
Yeah.